Listen to me carefully because what I'm about to say might offend you, but it could also save you from becoming the kind of older man nobody notices. Most men don't age like kings, they age like shadows. Quietly, slowly, pathetically, one day they wake up and realize people no longer look at them twice, not because they became old, but because they became careless, they became mentally weak, they stopped trying, they stopped evolving, and the world punished them for it. But here's the shocking truth. Some men become more attractive as they get older. Not a little bit. I mean dangerously attractive. The kind of man who walks into a room and people instantly feel something. Women stare without realizing. Men respect him without knowing why. Even younger people listen when he speaks because his presence feels heavy, powerful, undeniable. And no, it's not because he has perfect genetics. It's not because he's rich. It's not because he got lucky. It's because he knows secrets that most men will die without ever discovering. Secrets that change your face, your body, your energy, your aura, your confidence, your entire identity. And today I'm going to expose all of them. But I'm warning you right now. This is not a motivational speech for weak men. This is not for men who want comfort. This is for men who are tired of being invisible. Men who refuse to let age turn them into background noise. Because if you understand what I'm about to teach you, you won't just look better. You will become the type of older man everyone notices, even when you're silent. So stay until the end because the final secret is the one that separates ordinary men from unforgettable men. And once you hear it, you'll never see aging the same way again. Let's talk about presence. I don't mean confidence. I don't mean charm. Those are surface-level words people throw around like they understand them. Presence is something far deeper, something almost invisible yet impossible to ignore. It's the energy that surrounds you before you even speak, the weight of your being in a room, the magnetic force that makes people lean in without knowing why. You've probably seen it in others. The way someone walks in and suddenly every conversation pauses, every eye follows, and every thought in the room subconsciously adjusts to their rhythm. That is presence. And here's the truth. It isn't given. It isn't inherited. It is cultivated, refined, and mastered. And it is the one quality that makes an older man instantly remarkable, instantly unforgettable. The first thing to understand about presence is that it communicates before words ever do. A man can say nothing at all, but if his posture, his gaze, the subtle movements of his body, and the energy he projects are sharp and intentional, people will notice. Presence is silent authority. It's quiet confidence. It's the kind of power that doesn't shout to be acknowledged, but is acknowledged anyway. Think about the men you've seen who command a room effortlessly. Their presence isn't about size, looks, or wealth. It's about how they occupy space. It's about how they make others feel in their proximity. People instinctively respond to it. And here's a secret. Presence is something anyone can develop at any age. Developing presence starts with awareness of self. Most people wander through life oblivious to the energy they emit. They carry tension, uncertainty, distraction. When you are aware of how you exist in a room, how you breathe, how you move, how you project energy, you take the first step toward presence. It's about aligning your body, mind, and spirit in a way that radiates calm, control, and certainty. Simple adjustments, a straight spine, a grounded stance, a slower, deliberate pace, can transform how people perceive you instantly. This isn't superficial. This is psychological. Humans are wired to sense coherence between what we feel and what others project. When your inner confidence aligns with your outer expression, you become magnetic. Next, presence is deeply tied to emotional control. Think about it. How many times have you noticed someone older, wiser, and calm in a tense situation, and it made everyone around them pause? That's presence in action. The ability to remain composed, to not overreact, to carry yourself with measured emotion communicates far more than words ever could. People are drawn to stability, to the energy of someone who is not ruled by impulses. An older man with controlled energy signals experience, wisdom, and strength. Presence is not about pretending to be unshakable. It's about training yourself to respond with awareness rather than instinct, to act intentionally rather than reactively. It's about turning life's turbulence into a canvas upon which your calm power paints a clear, undeniable picture. Presence also thrives in the mastery of attention. There's an art to noticing things others miss, to giving people in your presence the subtle acknowledgement that they exist, that they matter. When you meet someone's eyes, when your attention is focused, and when you listen fully, you project value. People don't just notice you, they feel noticed. They feel the weight of your presence as meaningful, intentional, and rare. Most older men are ignored not because of their age, but because they fail to engage fully. When you harness the ability to command attention without demanding it, you create an aura that draws people in naturally. Presence is about making your energy felt and your attention undeniable, and when combined, these elements build something that cannot be overlooked. Another aspect of presence is the subtlety of silence. Many people confuse noise with presence. They try to fill every space with words, explanations, or gestures, believing that being loud equals being noticed. But true presence thrives in balance. Knowing when to speak and when to let your energy speak for you is a mark of authority. Silence gives weight to words. Pauses command reflection. A man who doesn't need to prove his existence constantly, who allows moments of quiet to reinforce his presence, becomes unforgettable. Silence is not emptiness, it is a space where your presence breathes and asserts itself. You also cannot ignore the role of authenticity in presence. People can sense when someone is performing, when someone is trying too hard, or when someone's energy is fake. Authenticity creates trust, and trust amplifies presence. An older man who carries himself authentically, flawed yet confident, experienced yet humble, strong yet approachable, projects a power that is magnetic. You cannot fake the alignment between who you are internally and how you show up externally. Presence is the reflection of your inner truth, polished and communicated through every gesture, every glance, and every step you take. Presence is also additive with age. Many men fear that their impact diminishes over time, that they will fade into the background. The exact opposite is true. Experience deepens presence, knowledge, emotional maturity, and life's lessons give an older man a natural authority that youth cannot imitate. When you pair that authority with deliberate cultivation of presence through posture, attention, composure, authenticity, and awareness, you become someone impossible to ignore. Age is no longer a limitation, it is the amplifier of your power. People notice a man who has lived, learned, and emerged refined. Finally, presence is actionable in every interaction. It's not something you turn on only when the spotlight is on. It's in the way you greet someone, in how you carry yourself walking into a room, in how you navigate small moments of tension or opportunity. Presence is in consistency. It is in the conscious decision to show up fully every day in every environment. It is in making every movement intentional, every word meaningful, every gesture aligned with the energy you wish to project. Presence is not a trick, it's a lifestyle, a practice, and a mindset. So here's the reality: you can have the best style, the sharpest physique, and the most impressive achievements, but without presence, people barely register you. They notice age, they notice appearance, they notice status, but presence transcends all of that. Presence is the magnetic force that commands respect, draws admiration, and creates unforgettable impressions. And the incredible truth is, it is within your control. It is something you can cultivate, refine, and unleash at any age. If you take one thing from this, let it be this: presence is not a superficial trick or a fleeting charm. It is the alignment of your body, mind, and energy. It is the deliberate cultivation of how you exist in the world, how you project power without shouting, and how you make others feel your weight without demanding it. Master presence, and you become a man who is seen, remembered, and respected, not for what you say, not for what you look like, but for the undeniable force of your being. Remember this: people will forget what you said, they may forget what you wore, but they will never forget how your presence made them feel. That is your true power. That is the secret every older man should harness. Start now. Walk into every room like you belong there, like your energy is needed, like your presence matters more than anything else. And watch the world notice. Grooming. The word might make some men roll their eyes, thinking it's all about superficial appearances. They imagine products, hairstyles, fancy creams, or the latest trendy outfits. But let me tell you this: grooming is far more than skin deep. It's a reflection of discipline, respect, and self-worth. It is one of the most subtle yet most powerful tools an older man has to command attention and respect in any room. People will notice your presence, your posture, your energy, but they will remember your grooming long after the conversation ends. It is the silent language that communicates who you are without a single word. Grooming is about intentionality. Every detail of how you present yourself sends a signal to the world. The moment you step into a room, people are unconsciously reading you, evaluating your energy, your habits, your care for yourself. Are your clothes neat and fitting? Is your hair managed? Does your skin reflect vitality or neglect? Grooming is your visual signature, and like a signature, it can either command respect or be easily ignored. The older you get, the more it matters because people naturally begin to associate age with decline. High-level grooming pushes back against that expectation. It says, I have lived, I have learned, and I continue to take care of myself. It is a declaration of self-respect and intentionality. The first layer of grooming is skincare and hygiene. I am not just talking about washing your face or brushing your teeth. I am talking about ritualizing self-care in a way that demonstrates discipline and consistency. Your skin is the most visible representation of your health and vitality. Neglect it, and you are sending a signal of indifference or carelessness. Invest in your skin. Learn how to clean it, nourish it, and protect it. Hydration, sun protection, and routine care are not vanity. They are maintenance of the most important canvas you will ever have, your body. Older men who understand this have an edge. They are remembered not because they are perfect, but because they appear intentionally well-maintained, and that speaks louder than words ever could. Next comes hair and facial grooming. Hair is a frame for the face. It is a crown that can either enhance your presence or diminish it. Men often underestimate the subtle power of a haircut that aligns with their features, their age, and their energy. It doesn't have to be trendy, it has to be aligned. Facial hair carries the same weight. A well-groomed beard communicates discipline, confidence, and character. A neglected beard communicates the opposite. Older men who master this art create a balance between maturity and vitality, sophistication and approachability. It is a form of visual storytelling. Before anyone speaks to you, your grooming already tells them who you are. Clothing is another layer, and it's often misunderstood. Many older men think that age gives them freedom to be careless with attire, that comfort trumps style. But the truth is, style is a language, and clothes speak long before you open your mouth. Well-fitted clothing signals intelligence, discipline, and taste. The cut, the colors, the fabric, they all send subtle messages. A jacket that fits your shoulders perfectly, a shirt that aligns with your posture, shoes that are polished and intentional, they all combine to communicate a visual narrative. This is a man who cares, a man who commands attention, a man whose life is in order. It is a psychological cue. People judge what they see before they even hear your words, and grooming ensures that their judgment leans in your favor. Grooming also extends to the small, often overlooked details. Nails, hands, posture, and even scent all contribute. They are signals of self-discipline and attention. A man with clean, strong hands, trimmed nails, and a subtle, pleasant scent communicates that he is meticulous, thoughtful, and in control. These details are not vanity. They are silent amplifiers of presence. Older men who master these nuances are not only noticed, they are remembered. They leave a lingering impression that others cannot articulate but feel instinctively. Beyond physical care, grooming is a mental and emotional discipline. It requires consistency and patience, the ability to prioritize yourself without ego or complacency. It is the internal understanding that how you care for yourself externally is inseparable from how you operate internally. Discipline in grooming reflects discipline in life. A man who invests in himself, even in small daily rituals, signals to the world that he respects himself, values his time, and refuses to be invisible. It is a projection of power and clarity, a demonstration that he is intentional in all aspects of his life. There is also a psychological phenomenon at play. People unconsciously associate grooming with competence. Studies show that well-groomed individuals are perceived as more capable, confident, and trustworthy. It is not superficial, it is biology and psychology at work. When you maintain yourself, people instinctively see you as someone who is disciplined, reliable, and worthy of attention. As an older man, this becomes a tool for influence and respect. You can leverage grooming not to manipulate, but to project the truth of your energy and character externally, making it unmistakable to anyone who encounters you. Grooming, however, is not about perfection or vanity. It is about alignment. It is about ensuring that your external presentation aligns with the energy, confidence, and presence you cultivate internally. It is about showing the world the best version of yourself without pretense. This is where most men fail. They either neglect the details or become obsessed with superficiality. The balance lies in intentionality, being deliberate about the impression you make while remaining authentic to who you are. That is mastery. The most powerful aspect of grooming is its cumulative effect over time. An older man who consistently takes care of himself, who maintains grooming as a ritual, sends a message of continuity, discipline, and refinement. Every day builds upon the last. The impact is subtle, almost imperceptible at first, but over time, it compounds into a presence that others cannot ignore. People don't just notice you once, they notice you repeatedly in ways that create respect, admiration, and even fascination. That is the secret power of grooming. It is not an act. It is a statement of intentional living. So here is the truth. Grooming is not about vanity, not about seeking approval, and not about fleeting trends. It is about discipline, presence, and self-respect. It is about communicating to the world without words that you are a man who values himself, a man who refuses to fade into irrelevance, a man who commands attention and admiration simply because he exists intentionally. It is a silent force multiplier, an amplifier of everything else you cultivate: presence, energy, confidence, and wisdom. If you take one thing from this, let it be this: grooming is not optional. It is a responsibility to yourself and to the world that witnesses your energy. Invest in it, ritualize it, refine it, and watch how it transforms not only how people perceive you, but how you perceive yourself. The older you get, the more your grooming becomes a reflection of your life philosophy: disciplined, intentional, and remarkable. Remember this: people may forget the words you say, they may overlook your age, but they will never forget the way you carry yourself, the care you take, and the impression your presence leaves. Grooming ensures that impression is unforgettable. Start now, refine yourself daily, and become a man whose appearance tells the story of a life fully lived, fully mastered, and fully respected. Your body speaks before you ever open your mouth. The moment you step into a room, people notice the way you move, the way you carry yourself, the energy you project physically. This is not vanity, and it is not about superficiality. It is about discipline, vitality, and presence. Made visible. The older you get, the more your body becomes your first statement to the world. If it communicates strength, energy, and control, people will pay attention. If it communicates fatigue, neglect, or weakness, no amount of words, charm, or style will make up for it. That is why building a body that talks before you do is not optional, it is essential. First, let's understand why the body matters so much. Humans are wired to read physical cues instinctively. We assess strength, health, and vitality in a fraction of a second. Even older men are not immune to this. When you carry yourself with posture, muscle tone, and energy, people subconsciously register that you are disciplined, capable, and alive. This is biological, but it is also psychological. Strength and vitality project confidence and control commands attention. When your body communicates purpose and power, it makes your presence undeniable. Discipline is at the heart of this. A strong, vital body is a reflection of a disciplined mind. It shows that you are willing to invest time and effort in yourself, that you prioritize long-term results over short-term comfort. Every rep, every run, every conscious effort to maintain your physical health signals intentionality. Older men often underestimate this, thinking that physical maintenance is a younger person's game. But that is a grave mistake. In fact, the older you get, the more your physical presence separates you from the crowd. A man who moves with strength and vitality at 50, 60, or even 70 is commanding attention not just visually, but psychologically. His body tells a story of control, resilience, and purpose. Posture is one of the most overlooked elements. A man who slouches communicates insecurity, fatigue, or complacency, no matter how handsome or wealthy he may be. A straight spine, squared shoulders, and a grounded stance communicate strength, authority, and self-respect. Posture is the simplest form of body language, yet it has the most profound impact. It is a declaration before you even speak. People respond instinctively to it. The older you get, the more this matters, because age naturally pulls posture downward. When you resist that, when you train your body to remain upright, alert, and poised, you are creating an invisible force that demands recognition. Strength is not about extreme muscle mass or bodybuilder aesthetics. It is about functional vitality, a body that is capable, balanced, and resilient. Functional strength communicates discipline, endurance, and energy. It shows that you take care of yourself, that you have invested in maintaining your physical abilities, and that you are prepared for life in all its unpredictability. Even subtle strength, when paired with presence and grooming, can make an older man appear more attractive, powerful, and commanding. People notice this even if they cannot articulate it. It is energy translated into motion. Movement is also a key element. How you walk, how you gesture, even how you shift your weight communicates far more than words. A controlled, deliberate, and purposeful way of moving communicates authority. It says you are in control of your life, your energy, and your environment. Sloppy, rushed, or hesitant movement communicates the opposite. Your body becomes a language that speaks to everyone around you, telling a story of vitality, discipline, and strength before you ever introduce yourself. The older you get, the more critical this becomes. Age may bring wisdom, but without a strong, disciplined body, wisdom alone can be overlooked. Your body is the frame through which your presence is understood. Fitness also connects deeply to mental and emotional resilience. Physical strength and vitality are inseparable from mental strength. Discipline in movement and exercise fosters clarity, focus, and confidence. A man who trains his body is also training his mind to endure, to overcome obstacles, to resist complacency. This inner strength radiates outward. People notice a man who is disciplined physically because he is likely disciplined mentally. His body is a visible manifestation of his inner resolve. It is a statement: this is a man who refuses to yield to time or circumstance. Older men often fear that physical decline is inevitable, that strength and vitality must fade. This is a myth perpetuated by neglect and complacency. While natural aging brings changes, intentional cultivation of the body can defy expectations. Men who prioritize their health, posture, and strength become almost magnetic. Their bodies communicate not just who they are today, but who they have been and who they refuse to stop being. Every gesture, every step, every interaction is amplified by the disciplined energy their bodies project. There is also a social dimension. Strength, vitality, and physical presence are visually compelling. People unconsciously read these cues, as signals of capability and reliability. In professional settings, it communicates authority. In social settings, it communicates confidence, attractiveness. In every environment, your physical energy tells a story. Older men who neglect this aspect often wonder why their presence fades in comparison to younger peers. The answer is simple: their bodies are speaking the wrong language. By building and maintaining a disciplined, vital body, you ensure that your energy, confidence, and presence are broadcast clearly and powerfully. Another critical aspect is consistency over perfection. This is not about achieving an idealized physique. It is about showing up for yourself every day. A disciplined approach to fitness, movement, and health signals reliability and intention. Even small, consistent actions compound into undeniable results over time. This cumulative impact enhances presence, grooming, and energy. It tells the world that you respect yourself, that you honor your life, and that you refuse to fade into invisibility. Your body also becomes a canvas for your life philosophy. It reflects discipline, purpose, and resilience. Older men who master this aspect communicate a narrative of vitality and mastery. They are not simply aging, they are aging with intention. Their physical presence reinforces everything else they cultivate: presence, grooming, emotional control, and wisdom. It is an integral layer of the force they project into the world. Every movement, every posture, every expression adds weight to the story of a life lived with purpose. So the key is this: a man's body is not just a shell, it is a language, a tool, and a signal. It talks before you do, long before you say a word. It communicates strength, energy, discipline, and resilience. It amplifies presence, grooming, and mental clarity. It makes you unforgettable in a way that words alone cannot achieve. Every older man who understands this has a distinct advantage: the ability to command attention, respect, and admiration simply through the way they exist physically in the world. If you take one lesson from this, let it be this: your body is your first impression, your silent ambassador, and your lifelong statement. Treat it with discipline, nurture it with consistency, and move through the world with purpose. The older you get, the more your body speaks for you, and when it is aligned with your presence, grooming, and mind, it becomes unstoppable. Strength, vitality, and intentional movement are not luxuries. They are essential instruments of influence and attraction. Remember this: people will notice the way your body carries energy even before they hear your words. A strong, disciplined, and vital body makes your presence undeniable. Start now. Train not just for looks, but for the energy, control, and life force your body can radiate. Let your body speak the story you want the world to hear. Now, after presence, grooming, and physical strength, there is something even more rare, something most men never develop because they don't even understand it exists. And this is the point where older men either become extremely attractive and unforgettable, or they become completely predictable and ignored. It's the art of mystery. And I want you to listen carefully, because mystery is not about playing games. It is not about acting distant. It is not about pretending to be cold or arrogant. That's childish. True mystery is something far more powerful. Mystery is psychological, gravity. It is the ability to, make people curious about you without chasing their attention. It is the ability to make people feel like there is depth behind your eyes, meaning behind your silence, and a story behind your calmness. And when a man has that, he doesn't need to beg for validation. People naturally want to know him. They want to be around him. They want to understand him, because human beings are addicted to what they cannot fully figure out. The truth is, most men talk too much. They explain too much. They reveal too much. They try too hard to prove who they are, what they have, what they know, what they've been through. They think constant communication creates connection, but it doesn't. It creates familiarity, and familiarity, when it comes too quickly, kills attraction. You see, charm is easy. Charm is the ability to say the right thing, smile at the right moment, be socially pleasant, be likable. Charm is a social skill and it can get you through many doors, but charm without mystery makes you forgettable, because if everyone can understand you instantly, then there is nothing left to discover. Mystery is what makes people pause. Mystery is what makes people remember. Mystery is what makes your presence stay in someone's mind even after you've left the room. And older men, if they are wise, have a massive advantage here, because mystery becomes more natural when you have lived, when you have experienced pain, when you have lost things, when you have rebuilt yourself, when you have learned that not everything deserves to be explained. A man who has suffered and survived has depth. But the problem is, many men destroy their own depth by oversharing. They talk about the IR struggles like they are trying to convince people that they matter. They talk about their achievements like they are trying to prove they are worthy. They talk about their plans too early. They talk about their emotions too openly. They talk about everything because silence makes them uncomfortable. But silence is not weakness. Silence is power when it is controlled, and mystery is built from controlled silence. One of the most attractive things a man can do is to not rush to fill the space, to not rush to impress, to not rush to entertain, to not rush to justify himself. Because when you don't rush, you communicate something very rare. You communicate that you are internally stable. You communicate that you are not desperate for approval. You communicate that you have a life beyond this conversation. That alone makes people curious. That alone makes people lean in. And let's go even deeper, because this is where most people don't understand human psychology. People don't respect what they can easily access. They don't value what is constantly available. They don't feel drawn toward what feels emotionally cheap. The reason mystery is so powerful is because it activates the human mind. It creates questions. And the mind always follows questions. If someone wonders, who is this man really? They will keep thinking about you. If someone wonders, why does he speak so calmly? They will keep remembering you. If someone wonders, why does he not try to impress anyone? They will start admiring you. This is why mystery creates attraction, respect, and influence. And the older you get, the more important this becomes, because society expects older men to become predictable. They expect you to become boring. They expect you to become repetitive. They expect you to lose your edge. So when you show up with composure, restraint, and depth, it shocks people. They don't know what to do with you. They start paying attention. But understand this clearly. Mystery is not about being emotionally unavailable. It's about being emotionally disciplined. It's about not making your emotions everyone else's responsibility. It's about knowing that your internal world is sacred and not everyone deserves access to it. A man who shares everything with everyone is not open-minded. He is unguarded, and life does not reward unguarded men, because the world is full of people who will take your openness and use it against you. They will take your vulnerability and reduce it to gossip. They will take your kindness and interpret it as weakness. They will take your honesty and use it as a weapon. So the man who understands mystery is not playing a role. He is protecting his peace. He is choosing what to reveal and when to reveal it. And that choice gives him power, because the truth is, when you reveal too much too quickly, you remove the opportunity for people to earn you. You remove the opportunity for your story to unfold naturally. You remove the possibility of suspense. And human beings love suspense. This is why the most respected men in the world are not the loudest. They are not the ones constantly announcing their thoughts. They are not the ones constantly proving themselves. They are the ones who speak with precision, who choose their moments, and who make their words feel expensive. Because words should feel expensive, not not desperate, not endless. A man with mystery speaks in a way that feels like every sentence has weight, like every statement has intention, like every word has passed through thought before it reached the mouth, and people can feel that. They may not understand why they feel drawn to you, but they will feel it. Now, let's connect this to attractiveness. People often assume attraction is purely physical, that it's about muscles, height, hairline, or clothing, but that is shallow thinking. Physical appearance gets attention. Mystery holds attention, and holding attention is the real power. You can be good-looking and still forgettable. Many men are, but when you combine a strong body, refined grooming, calm presence, and psychological mystery, you become rare, and what is rare becomes valuable. What is valuable becomes desirable. This is why mystery is a weapon of older men, because youth relies on visibility, youth relies on showing off, youth relies on proving, but maturity relies on restraint, it relies on depth, it relies on control, and control is the most attractive form of masculinity. Control over your emotions, control over your impulses, control over your reactions, control over your tongue, control over your ego. A man who can control himself becomes someone other people trust, admire, and sometimes even fear. Not fear in a negative way, fear in the sense that they realize they cannot manipulate him, they cannot predict him easily, they cannot read him like an open book, and that is powerful. Now, here is something most men need to hear. Mystery is also about not explaining yourself unnecessarily. Most men ruin their own image by offending. They talk too much when challenged. They try too hard when questioned. They panic when misunderstood. But a man with mystery understands a brutal truth. Not everyone deserves clarification. Sometimes silence is the answer. Sometimes walking away is the answer. Sometimes letting people misjudge you is the answer. Because your reputation is not built by convincing everyone. It is built by living with consistency. And that consistency creates intrigue. People start watching you. They start noticing patterns. They start respecting your self-control. They start realizing you are not like everyone else. And that is the moment you become unforgettable. So if you are older, stop trying to compete with younger men in energy. Stop trying to compete with younger men in attention-seeking. Stop trying to prove you are still relevant by acting loud, desperate, or overly social. Instead, develop the quiet confidence of a man who knows himself. Speak less but speak sharper. Smile less but smile sincerely. Show less but show quality. Reveal less but reveal meaning. Because mystery is not hiding. Mystery is selective revelation. It is the understanding that the best parts of you are not for everyone. And once you master this, you will notice something shocking. People will start approaching you differently. They will start treating you like you matter. They will start respecting your silence. They will start paying attention to what you don't say as much as what you do say. And that is when you know you have crossed into a different level of masculine power. Because the truth is, in a world full of noise, the quiet man becomes the most dangerous man in the room. So remember this and let it stay in your mind. A man who reveals everything becomes ordinary, but a man who carries depth with discipline becomes unforgettable. Now, after presence, grooming, physical strength, and mystery, we arrive at the final secret. And this one is not just the most important, it is the one that makes all the other secrets permanent. Because everything else can be copied. A man can copy your haircut, he can copy your style, he can copy your workout routine, he can even copy your silence, but he cannot copy your mind, and this is where the truth becomes uncomfortable. Because when people look at a good-looking older man, they assume his advantage is physical, they assume he is lucky, they assume he has good genes, they assume he simply aged well. But the reality is far deeper. A man ages well on the outside when he is strong on the inside, and the strongest men are not the ones with the biggest muscles, the loudest voices, or the most attention. The strongest men are the ones with the sharpest minds, the clearest thinking, and the deepest self-control, because your mind is the engine of your life. Your mind determines your habits. Your habits determine your appearance. Your appearance determines how the world treats you. And how the world treats you determines the opportunities you receive. So when you master your mind, you master everything. Let me say something that might shock you. Most men do not grow old. They simply become tired. They become mentally lazy. They stop learning. They stop reflecting. They stop evolving. They repeat the same beliefs, the same routines, the same conversations, the same emotional reactions until they become predictable. And predictable men are never respected. They are tolerated. They are ignored. They are invisible. But the man who continues to sharpen his mind becomes rare. And rare men are always attractive, not just physically, but psychologically, because people are drawn to intelligence that feels calm. They are drawn to wisdom that feels grounded. They are drawn to men who speak with clarity and don't need to prove anything. That is the power of a disciplined mind. Now understand this. Your mind is not just your thoughts. Your mind is your emotional patterns. Your beliefs, your fears, your insecurities, your ego, your pride, your anger, your impulsiveness, your need for validation, your need to be right, your need to be seen. Most men are controlled by these things. They think they are living freely, but they are trapped inside themselves. They are trapped inside jealousy. They are trapped inside resentment. They are trapped inside lust. They are trapped inside addiction. They are trapped inside comparison. And when a man is trapped inside his own mind, it shows on his face. It shows in his posture. It shows in his energy. It shows in his voice. It shows in his decisions. It shows in his relationships. You can tell when a man is mentally weak because his emotions are always leaking. He overreacts. He becomes defensive. He tries to dominate conversations. He tries to impress people. He tries to win attention. He tries to feel important. And all of that is not confidence. It is desperation wearing a mask. A mentally strong older man does not behave like that. He becomes calm. He becomes selective. He becomes intentional. He does not argue unnecessarily. He does not chase approval. He does not compete for attention. He does not explain himself to people who don't deserve him, because his mind is not chaotic. His mind is trained, and that training becomes visible. This is why the most attractive older men have something young men don't have. It's not money. It's not maturity. It's not even confidence. It's emotional control. It's the ability to feel deeply, but act wisely. It's the ability to be provoked but remain composed. It's the ability to be insulted but stay silent. It's the ability to be tempted but stay disciplined. It's the ability to be lonely but not become desperate. That is real power, and power is always attractive. Now here is something very important. A sharp mind is built through learning, but not just learning facts. It is built through learning yourself. Through reflection, through self-awareness, through understanding your patterns, understanding what triggers you, understanding what motivates you, understanding what weakens you, because the man who knows himself becomes dangerous in the best way. He becomes unshakable. He becomes emotionally untouchable, not because he has no feelings, but because he has mastery over them. And when you have mastery over yourself, the world cannot control you. This is why you must read, you must think, you must study psychology, philosophy, history, human behavior, not to sound intelligent, but to become intelligent, not to impress people, but to understand life, because the man who understands life stops being confused by people. He stops being manipulated. He stops being emotionally used. He stops being shocked by better. He stops being surprised by human nature. And instead of becoming bitter, he becomes wise. Instead of becoming angry, he becomes strategic. Instead of becoming insecure, he becomes grounded. And when you become grounded, your presence becomes heavier. Your voice becomes calmer. Your eyes become sharper. Your energy becomes magnetic. People can feel it, even when you say nothing. This is why older men who master their minds become extremely attractive, because they carry a different kind of confidence, a confidence that is not loud, a confidence that is not childish, a confidence that doesn't need applause. It is the confidence of a man who has survived his own darkness. Now let's talk about something most people avoid. The older you get, the more life humbles you. It takes things from you. It takes youth. It takes friends. It takes time. It takes comfort. It takes illusions. It forces you to confront reality. And most men respond to that by becoming bitter. They start complaining. They start blaming the world. They start blaming women. They start blaming society. They start blaming younger people. They start blaming the system. And what they don't realize is that bitterness is the fastest way to become ugly, not physically, spiritually. A bitter man becomes unattractive even if he has good features. Because bitterness leaks through his voice, it leaks through his eyes, it leaks through his attitude, it leaks through his facial expressions. It turns him into a man people avoid, but the man who masters his mind does the opposite. He turns pain into wisdom. He turns rejection into self-improvement. He turns loss into maturity. He turns mistakes into insight. He turns loneliness into power. And that is why he becomes more attractive with age, not less. Because he is not decaying, he is evolving. Now, let me give you a harsh truth. The world does not respect a man who is mentally weak. It may sympathize with him, but it will not respect him. People do not follow weak-minded men. Women do not feel safe with weak-minded men. Society does not admire weak-minded men. And the reason is simple. A weak mind cannot lead. A weak mind cannot protect. A weak mind cannot build. A weak mind cannot stay consistent. But a strong mind creates stability. And stability is rare. And rare things are valuable. So if you want to be a good-looking older man that everyone notices, stop thinking it's about the face. Stop thinking it's about genetics. Stop thinking it's about hairlines and wrinkles. Because a man's true attractiveness is his inner architecture, his mindset, his discipline, his emotional control, his wisdom, his ability to stay calm while others collapse. That is what makes a man timeless. That is what makes him respected. That is what makes him feared in a powerful way. That is what makes him unforgettable. And here is the most beautiful part. When you master your mind, you stop fearing age, because you realize age is not the enemy. The enemy is mental decline. The enemy is spiritual laziness. The enemy is giving up on yourself. A man who keeps his mind sharp stays young in the only way that matters. His energy stays alive. His purpose stays alive. His confidence stays alive. His aura stays alive. And when your aura is alive, people notice you even if you are silent. So remember this. Your face will change. Your hair will change. Your body will change. But if your mind stays disciplined, your life will stay powerful. And the man who controls his mind controls his destiny. So ask yourself this question and don't run from it. Are you becoming older or are you becoming stronger? Because the world doesn't notice men who age. The world notices men who evolve. Master your mind and you will never become invisible.